everybody, this is Lindsay from windingroadcrochet.com and today is Tips and Tutorials Tuesday. Today I'm going to be showing you all about foundation stitches. I'm going to tell you what they are, show you how to do them, why you'd want to use them, and how you can convert a pattern to use foundation stitches. Make sure you leave me a comment below letting me know if you're enjoying the Tips and Tutorial Tuesdays, as well as giving me some suggestions to do for next Tuesday. So make sure you like and share this video with anyone else you think would find it useful. So right now you're just watching me chaining 10 or actually 11, and then I'm going to make a row of single crochet so that I can show you the difference between using a foundation chain, which you work stitches into, versus using a foundation stitch. So for most patterns you would work a foundation chain and then you would work your first row of stitches into that foundation chain. For foundation stitches, you're actually working your foundation chain and the stitches of row 1 at the exact same time. Alright, so I have finished my chain and my stitches for this example. This is just a foundation chain with 10 single crochet worked into it. Just set that aside. And then here I have an example of 10 foundation single crochet stitches. And so a few of the differences you're going to see between these two rows is the first is that the top and the bottom of our foundation stitches look exactly the same. So this, if you're going to have the bottom as the edge of a project, this is a really great way to give yourself a really nice clean edge that looks exactly like the top of your work. So it's just like a really nice finishing technique that you actually do at the beginning of your project. The second benefit you're going to see is this is our chain with a row of single crochet, and this piece doesn't have a lot of stretch to it. But if you look at our foundation stitches, there you go. We have a lot of stretch going on with this. So this, if you're doing, say, the collar of a sweater or something, or even like a headband that's going to go around your head, you really want to have that nice stretch. Third benefit of the foundation chains or foundation stitches is that if you make a few too many stitches and you go ahead and pull out those extra stitches you made, you're pulling out one stitch at a time instead of having to pull out the whole thing and rework your starting chain. So your foundation stitch has 3 benefits to it. First, your top and your bottom of the stitch looks exactly the same. It has a lot of nice stretch, and you can remove a single stitch at a time instead of having to rip the whole thing out and redo your starting chain. So those are the 3 reasons you might choose to do a foundation stitch over the starting chain and the first row of stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and get these 2 examples out of our way, and let's go ahead and learn how to do the foundation single crochet. I'm using a size G hook as well as some worsted weight yarn that I happen to have on hand. So the first thing we are going to do is just make a slip knot and put our yarn on our hook. And then since we're not making a foundation chain, the first thing we'll need to do is make our turning chain. And for a single crochet foundation stitch, we will be chaining 2. And again, since we don't have our foundation chain, we are going to work into the very first chain that we made, or the second chain from the hook, however you'd like to think of it. Go into that chain and pull up a loop. Now at this point we could complete a single crochet, but again, we do not have a foundation chain yet. So the first thing we need to do is create a foundation chain for this first single crochet stitch. So yarn over and pull through only the first loop on the hook. That creates a foundation chain. And then you can yarn over again and pull through both loops on the hook to create your first single crochet stitch. So you have your chain here and then your single crochet directly above it. And now we are going to make our next foundation chain. Now this time we are going to go, if you look back over at our other one, you'll see that we made these little V's are both on the bottom and the top. when we put in our hook, like you would at the top of a stitch, you want to make sure you go under both parts of the V. So you're going to have two pieces of yarn above your hook, just like I'm doing right here. You're going to have 2 pieces of yarn above your hook when we go into the previous stitch. Let me show you how we're doing this. So there are 2 pieces of yarn right here. I'm going to go under both of them. So I have 2 pieces of yarn here. I'm going to yarn over and then pull up that first loop. And again, we still need to make that a new foundation chain. So we will yarn over and pull through only the first loop. That makes our foundation chain for this stitch, and then yarn over and pull through the 2 remaining loops on the hook to make our second foundation single crochet. So let's go ahead and do this once more. So we'll go under that V on the bottom to attach it to the previous stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first loop on the hook to create our foundation chain, and then yarn over and pull through the other 2 loops on the hook to create the next single crochet. And there you have a row of foundation single crochet. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and go straight into doing a foundation half double crochet. We're only changing a few small things. We're going to yarn over, and this time we are going to chain 3 for our turning chain. Again, we are going to work into that very first chain that we made, but before we do, we need to yarn over and then insert our hook into the first chain made, yarn over and pull up a loop. Again, we need to make that foundation chain, so we will yarn over and pull through the first loop on the hook. And now we will complete our half double crochet by yarning over and pulling through all the loops on the hook. And that gives us our first chain as well as our first half double crochet. Let's make a few more. So we'll yarn over, and now we are working underneath the V that we create at the bottom of the stitch to attach the next foundation stitch to the previous one. Yarn over and pull a loop through that V. We have 3 loops on our hook. Yarn over and pull through just the first loop to create that foundation chain, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. And now we've made our second half double crochet foundation chain. Just do it once more. Go under that V, which I really think is the hardest part, but you do get the hang of it. There. We're going to yarn over and just pull that through the stitch. Yarn over and pull through the first loop. That is the foundation chain we're creating first, and then yarn over and pull through the rest of the stitch, and that is the rest of your foundation stitch for half double crochet. Let's move on to double crochet. Just go ahead and pull this out, and we'll start over once again. Make a slip knot. For a double crochet, we are going to chain up 4. That is our turning chain. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn over just like the half double crochet, and then work into that very first chain that you've made. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Make our foundation chain by yarning over and pulling through the first loop, and then yarn over once more, and then complete this stitch as if it's a double crochet. So we pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and now you have your first foundation double crochet. Let's make another one. Go underneath the V that we have created in the last stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through the first loop to create our foundation chain. Pull this out, try again. Go into underneath that V, yarn over and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through the first loop only to create the foundation chain, and then complete it as if it's a double crochet. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There you have the second double crochet foundation stitch. So we'll make our last foundation double crochet, yarn over, and go underneath the V, which you can start seeing a little bit more clearly now. Pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through the first loop, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. And there you have it, your last double crochet foundation stitch. So every pattern's going to be different. Some designers will leave you instructions for using foundation stitches in their pattern. If they do, what you are going to see is the name of the stitch, like SC for single crochet, with an F in front of it standing for a foundation stitch. It'll be FSC for foundation single crochet, FHDC for foundation half double crochet, and FDC for foundation double crochet. Occasionally you will have those alternative options at the beginning of a pattern. Let's go ahead and talk about what we want to do when we want to use a foundation stitch, but the pattern doesn't give us directions for how many to do and how to start the pattern off with a foundation stitch. So let's just say that I have a pattern here that says to chain 10 and then work into the second chain from the hook and down along the chain. What I want to pay attention to convert this to foundation stitches is how many chains I skip. So since I work in the second chain from the hook, I'm only skipping 1 chain. So I want to take my foundation chain, which was 10, subtract the 1, and I know I only need to work 9 foundation single crochet stitches for that pattern. If for the same pattern I was going to work half double crochet stitches, the pattern would normally ask me to work half double crochet stitches into the third chain from the hook. So I'm skipping 2 chain to work into the third. So I would take the 10 original chain minus the 2 skip chains, and I would know to work 8 foundation half double crochets instead of the starting chain and the stitches. Same method would also work for double crochet. Double crochet, we'd work into the 4th chain from the hook, skipping 3 chain. So you would subtract that 3 from the starting chain to get 7 foundation double crochets for that pattern. So that is all I have for you about foundation stitches. I hope you learned something new. Let me know in the comments below how much of this you knew, how much you found useful, and what you'd like me to share next week for a Tips and Tutorial Tuesday.